How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Dyad and the Force, episode 158, the one about 25 years of Star Wars prequels. Empire Magazine just came out with
the cover was fantastic.
The cover with you know, the one with Anakin as a Padawan and then Anakin in Revenge of the Sith. Those two covers were absolutely phenomenal. And this whole episode will be engaging with your guys' questions and just hanging out with you guys like normal, but also kind of keeping it around the 25th anniversary of the Star Wars prequels. Choco, how's it going, man?
It is going good. I was looking for something, but can't find it right now. That may cause problems later. So, awesome.
Shout out to everybody in the chat: Calfor, Connor, Craig, Kyle, Logan. Okay, so we did the pre-show, and there was some sentiments that I wanted to address. Craig McWin, if you're still in the chat, said the Jedi believed Anakin was gone despite Luke finding the light in him years later. If Obi-Wan had allowed Anakin to save Shmi, Palpatine's manipulations may not have worked. Now, this is a big oof because this may be an example of the Mandela effect. But I urge you guys to watch the movies again because that's not how it happened. So first and foremost, the Jedi instantly believed Anakin was gone despite Luke finding the light in him years later. The Jedi didn't believe anything about Anakin until the Order was gone. And, you know, the last thing that May said to him is like, you know, you will have gained my trust. You know? And then after that, he betrays Anakin betrays Mace, gets turned into Darth Vader, walks into the temple, sacks the temple, everyone's gone, and what Yoda and Obi-Wan come back to is a recording of him killing everyone and being pronounced Darth Vader. So, there was no chance for the Jedi to believe that Anakin was still there. Like, he had betrayed Mace and killed everyone in the temple. Now,
yeah, I would also like to add, because this I was actually making a video that mentions this, but this ignores like one of the most important parts of Star Wars. So Anakin knew about the Chosen One prophecy. He knew about it his entire life, or at least his life as a Jedi. And in that moment, when he's with Palpatine and with Mace, and he hears "You must choose," That's what that moment was. That's the prophecy. He was told he needed to destroy the Sith, right? And he had the opportunity right then and there, and he chose not to do it. So, like, them believing that he was gone was because he actively chose not to fulfill the prophecy that he had been told his entire life. Not to mention, to them, Anakin was gone. You know what I mean? Like, they believed he was gone, and they were right. There's nothing that any of them could have possibly done to bring him back.
Yeah, I mean, and quite frankly, as I said before, they didn't really know what was of Anakin until they saw the footage of him being Darth Vader. So there was no chance for them to see anything other than, you know? And much like I say with Luke and Ben, Anakin isn't Luke's failure. So Luke can come in straight away and be like, I still see some good in him. So because he's unbiased, or rather biased, depending on how you look at it. You know, he wants his father back. Yeah. So he sees that. But Obi-Wan, it was Obi-Wan's failure. So Obi-Wan had no other choice but to quote unquote destroy Anakin, and he failed to do so. The line "only a Sith deals in absolutes" is an absolute, and Kenobi then drew a saber to duel Annie. So the line "only a Sith deals in absolutes" is not an absolute, and that line comes after "you're either with me or against me, or you're my enemy." So, in all of these scenarios, Anakin is already drawing the line. And so when it comes to these proclamations about the Jedi betraying Anakin and not seeing the light in him, Anakin had already drawn the line. Anakin chose to betray Mace and killed the younglings and sacked the temple. And when they came back and saw the recordings of him doing so, there was no room for them to be like, well, maybe he's still got good in him.
Like that actually would have been pretty problematic if instead of fulfilling the prophecy, he turns on them, sacks the temple, murders all the children, and if they're like, I think he's good still.
Yeah, and then the same.
Also, just another thing is, who's to say there was any light in him at that time?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, because it has to be the right person, and it also has to be the right time. He had to live with that for years, and kind of build that aching up in his heart to go back. Not when he's in the height of his anger.
Yep. And just like a Blue Eagle Gamer says in the chat, Luke feels how Obi-Wan feels for Ben. And so it's like, that's why it has such a profound effect on Luke. It's because Ben was Luke's failure. When people say, you saw good in Vader, it's like, yeah, because you didn't fail Vader. You're there trying to save him. And just like Rey is to Luke, you saw the light in Vader, why don't you save Ben? It's because he lost Ben. Ben was his failure. Rey's the one coming in with the innocence and like, I can turn him. Rey is the one seeing, I see the light.
Yeah, so when people act like just because he saved Vader, he should be able to save Ben, that's the equivalent of meeting a cute girl. Like you get a girl's number, she's like a 9.5 out of 10, and you feel great. And now you believe any girl that's of equal or lower attractiveness, you automatically get their number. And like that's not how it works. Individual connections are what matters. Hello, Ella.
There's a canon story about Kenobi on Tatooine regarding his choice to not let Annie save Shmi. First and foremost, that's not what happened. That's a vision from Anakin. But also, they had no choice, or they had no chance to forbid him or allow him. Like, if you watch the movie again, he's there to protect Padme on Naboo, and he has the dream, and he goes off to Tatooine to save his mother then and there. Like, he doesn't ask for permission.
And yeah, it's one of those hindsight to 2020 type things, because like let's say he did go earlier to go save his mom, he probably would have succeeded, and then Padme would have died.
Yep. It's all these what ifs. Like, what if Anakin chose to go back earlier and save his mom? Well, that would mean he's not there to protect Padme.
Also, the idea that Palpatine's manipulations wouldn't have worked then is also, I find, really weird, because Palpatine's goal was to get that kid, right? That was his goal, and he was going to do whatever it took. So maybe what he did in the films wouldn't have worked, but he would have used a different tactic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you stopped him here, he would have tried that way. That's literally what he does with everything throughout all of Star Wars.
Honestly, I think the only reason he did go to save his mom is because Padme went with him.
Oh, yeah, no, it's because Padme was like, "Oh, I'm going there."
It's the eternal question of like, who do you save, Padme or Shmi first, right? And we all know what Anakin's real insecurities are, is losing Padme. Shout out to MP in the chat. Hello there. How's it going, everyone? What are we talking about today? Today is all about the 25 years of the Star Wars prequels. So we're talking about the prequels, and to our surprise, we have a great subject to talk about with Anakin. Yeah. But, yeah.
Being a prequels kid is like, I don't know, magical times. I'm happy.
Shout out to Cal4, Dyad squad member for 30 months. Big 30. Let's go, Dyad love. Thank you so much for the support, dude. Much appreciated. Shout out to Conspiracy Cantina DePaul. What up? What if Anakin didn't kill all the Tusken Raiders?
He didn't kill all of them, but well, I don't know. I don't know what we mean by that.
Well, I mean, according to Anakin, he did. He said all of them. Women and children, too.
Yeah, sorry. He wiped out that whole tribe that was there. And the Tuskens had have stories about like a figure that comes and just like Darth Vader becomes a boogeyman that that kids need to check under their bed for. Also, he makes it worse because Vader every now and then, if he's in the area, will go and just murder them again for no reason.
Yeah.
Well, coming because he's a terrible person.
As if there was no other Jedi that could protect Padme while Annie saved Shmi. I mean, yeah.
I don't understand.
I think the reason they chose Anakin is because he has the most rapport with her. But
yeah, and so that's the problem with going through these weird, kind of what ifs all the time, because you could say, well, what if they assigned another Jedi, and then that means that they wouldn't have fallen in love and gotten married, and that whole thing wouldn't have happened. But that's still not relevant to Palpatine's infatuation with Anakin, which had already been in the works for years, for 10 years at that point in time. So I don't think that's necessarily relevant, but in addition to that, you had Padme can do the whole trap where it was only because of the sensors and Anakin sensing it that they stopped the bugs. Like, I don't know, there's just a lot of type of things. Quizzer Acula says 25 years and people still blame the Jedi Council. Yeah, I don't know, it is what it is. I just want to just make sure people also acknowledge that while the Jedi did have their problems, they shouldn't have got involved in the war, and they shouldn't have picked sides, to be honest. Even though all of that is true, we also have to acknowledge that there is 10,000 Jedi. They've been around for thousands of years. Changing all of that for one kid is a weird idea, especially if they've had a lot of success in everything. I don't think the answer to Anakin's problems were just giving him everything he wants all the time. I think that's the exact opposite of what he needed.
Mm-hmm.
I think we would have done well with a master like Mace Windu, who does get emotional and had to create a new fighting style to control that. He needed a spanking. That's what he needed, and more timeouts.
Craig says, the Jedi should value their chosen one being mentally okay. They do. But there's only so much they can do.
I mean, if that's... so he should have had no autonomy? Like... Anakin's a grown man. He's doing his own thing.
There are no kid gloves here. Like I think in general they were being generous and charitable by giving Anakin the assignment of Padme. Like it's what he wanted.
But more importantly, like all throughout all of Revenge of the Sith, Padme is saying, "You need help. Let's go talk to Obi-Wan. Let's go talk to the." And he's like, I don't want to hear about Obi-Wan anymore." Like you can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. You can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. You can't help someone's mental health unless they want it. You can't just throw a kid in a therapist's office and expect it to work. Not a kid, an adult.
Any guests today? We did book Straw Hat Goofy because he recently had some run-ins with the Star Wars community. But he's a busy guy. If he calls in, he'll call in and we'll have a chat with him. Otherwise, it's just us, and there's nothing wrong with just us.
Yeah, hanging out with you guys. If you guys have questions, throw them out in the chat. Throw them out everywhere. And also, let us know if you want to call in and join us and talk.
Yes. Let's see here. Make a really in-depth timeline for Star Wars comics, books, games, and all. I do that stuff for books and comics, but like games and all in the movies, I have a really great recommendation, and that's Utini. They have a fabulous timeline for everything. I just can't do it. I mean, with the High Republic, it's easy because it's a concentrated timeline, and it's like this is where it begins, this is where it ends, and it has all the books and comics and everything.
Also, Star Wars is imperfect, so there are certain things that just don't work on a timeline.
Yeah. We can entertain these what ifs as much as possible, but there's always the what if on the other side of things, right? So if they held Anakin's hand and didn't allow him to protect Padme, and were just like doting on him constantly 24/7, would Anakin feel like they do not respect his independence? Palpatine would find ways to manipulate whatever the Jedi was doing and kind of go the opposite.
I'd argue it'd be easier if he was always getting what he wanted, because being selfish is the path to the dark side. Darren asks, what upcoming projects are y'all most excited for?
Acolyte,
which we got an update on. Although I suppose I didn't fully check out the sources on this, but apparently it was Collider that reported that the Acolyte is going to be coming out this summer, which is pretty damn soon. Like, I don't know, time's been flying for me. I don't know about y'all, but definitely the Acolyte is my most anticipated.
Yep. How's it going, Rise Blue Sun? Hello there, General Kenobi, or it's all right.
Come here,
old friend, little friend. Django blasting a clone trooper would be the same as Element blasting his alter ego personified. Who's my alter ego?
Stevenson.
Oh, Marvin. Oh man, Choco. I'm on a call with Choco right now.
Elma could blast Marvin Stevenson. That'd be fun.
Going well. You guys doing good?
I want to see. Okay, I want like a random thing where it's just like random stuff that clones did that made it out. Because like somewhere out there, there was a clone band somewhere where they just play dad rock on the weekends or something, or I don't know. I feel like there's got to be a bunch of different stories.
I'm explaining why Jango Fett had to be killed before Yoda showed up. Oh, I keep forgetting that people associate Yoda with me sometimes. Oh, rather. Oh. Chemical 14? Right.
Chemical 14? Is that... Oh, because... Okay, gotcha. Now I get it. My mind just went to what did he use in Powerpuff Girls? Chemical X.
That's all you, man.
Why was that dude trying to make little girls in his basement? That's my question. I mean, there was some
Devious.
some nasty afoot. Yeah.
Tommy P says, I recently bought the prequels on 4K Blu-ray, and I'm super excited to see TPM on the big screen. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm
Yeah,
excited for
we
any
got-
Star Wars to return to the big screen.
I mean, we got new events to add to to Daikon.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be awesome. Just like the big screen with like Duel of the Fates on those speakers again, and
I mean, you know what I'm excited about. It's like Saboba is riding your ass. You know? Like,
before episode 170, I'd like to fund the British snacks. I mean, you can. Although, if you just give me a list of those snacks, I can probably find a way to order them.
yeah. Yeah, that's what we should do.
Can you imagine how scarred fans would have been if Jango Fett killed a clone trooper in AOTC?
Yeah.
Would he be able to? Would he be able to like step up to like a clone, and the clone takes off his mask? He's like, "You got a problem with me?" And then Jango's like, "Holy shit, dang, that's me."
I mean, considering how cavalier Boba was with it when he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna join these cadets and I'm gonna blow up this ship and take it down." I don't know. I think they were pretty ruthless.
Here's the thing, Connor. If you can send us a list of British snacks, we'll order some, and either. Do you want me to come down there with my mixer and we can do like a in-person video tasting the snacks or something?
Yeah, we can figure something out. I mean, I can head up there as well, but
Yeah, I already have two mics set up for the Watching Sundays channel, so we can possibly do that. What would the title of that be? Star Wars Lore Masters Try British Snacks. It's like there's no relative there's no correlation, but if people are interested.
Imperial snacks. I don't know.
Oh man, colonizer snacks. What's happening with the Lando movie, and is it necessary? Well, I mean, from what we can gather with the latest from Iger is that it is returning to being a movie. But we don't have anything official about it. We just know that the Mandalorian and Grogu movie will be the next one in 26 to come back to screens. And the next one after that will be The New Jedi Order. Then the next one after that is Dawn of the Jedi. Then the next one after that is the Mandalorian culmination movie by Filoni.
Yeah.
But then they said there's like other secret projects that have yet to be announced.
Also, I will say after watching Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I would love a Lando movie. Donald Glover was killing it. That's a great show.
I haven't finished it, but I watched 3 episodes so far and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. And he's got the smoothness. He's got the I feel like he's even more Lando in that show at certain points than he was before. So that makes me excited. Jack asks, do you think we'll get a Clone Wars Rebels type show for the sequel trilogy era?
I think they're more likely to give us a live action show nowadays.
Interesting. Okay.
I would love because so this is also coming off of Bob Iger's like whole shakeup with Marvel and Lucasfilm, is that like they want to stop cutting movies into shows and do more shows that are TV shows. You know what I mean? Like the show that has ongoing seasons rather than the limited time 6-episode drop and then it's all over. Like they want, like Iger wants people to like subscribe to Disney Plus and to stay there for like the next season, right? And so like if someone subscribes for like Ahsoka, for example, even though season 2 was confirmed, like if that was to remain a limited series, they would unsubscribe because like they've already gotten the series. You know what I mean? Same with people who are fans of Hawkeye. They just one limited series, that's it, and then like you're like, well, nothing else. I'm just gonna unsubscribe. So I think they're more likely to give us a live action show that runs for a couple of seasons, like the Clone Wars, not necessarily following anyone that of like significance, but
You're being destructive. No.
like in the same vein of Resistance, they could give us a live action show for like 4 seasons of like what happens in the 30 years, you know.
But you know what I would love them to do though, as well. If after we get the Rey movie, if she gets her, if she's starting a whole new Jedi, what if they do another Young Jedi Adventures type show, but for her era?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Young Jedi Adventures. She's the Grandmaster, and we see her younglings and Padawans running around.
Yeah, but it's kind of like camping, like because they don't have all the stuff all set up, so they're figuring things out as they go. I don't know. I think that could be interesting. Krabby Stabby says, "Do you think Star Wars would have done better if it wasn't bought by Disney?"
No. I know they asked you.
No. I mean, it's for for both of us. So one thing that's interesting, I think. So if they weren't bought by Disney, we wouldn't have the Mandalorian. One thing that people tend to forget is that Kathleen Kennedy is not Disney. Kathleen Kennedy running the show was George Lucas's stipulation for selling it to Disney. That means that whoever they sold it to, Kathleen Kennedy would be running it. If they sold it to HBO, Kathleen Kennedy would be running it. The only difference is someone like Jon Favreau, who was working with Disney, wouldn't have had the same opportunity to join.
Yeah. Basically, Kathleen Kennedy was going to be a part of running the show no matter who they sold it to, given George Lucas's stipulations. Aside from that, Star Wars wasn't going anywhere under George Lucas. Like he didn't have the capital. Like he was like, "Hey, I'm having a kid. I want to spend time with my family, and like I don't really want to do this anymore." Like people think that like Disney acquired Lucasfilm like in a hostile takeover. Like no, Lucas sold it. Like he wanted to sell it. He wanted to settle down.
Also, you know, I point out now that I've been looking into it, because we know that the value of the IP now is above $66 billion. And they bought it for $4 billion. So, like, saying, do you think it would have done better? It did good. It's done real good. I don't know how to tell people.
All I know is before he sold it, he wasn't going to do anything else with it. You know, would we have gotten just more and more EU stuff? Probably, but he didn't want to do anymore. He had outlines. He had things that like if he had done it, those would have been the things. But he said he wants to spend more time with his family.
It reminds me of that of Howard Stark when he's like, "I'm limited by the technology of my time, Tony." Like the Star Wars show that because he wanted to do a live action Star Wars show, but that was the problem that they ran into, is that it would have been so expensive to make at the time, because they didn't have the same fabrication technologies that we had now. They didn't have the volume. They didn't have, you know, it's crazy the advancements that have been made. And would we have gotten more EU stuff? I wonder. Okay, here's my thing. The EU after Fate of the Jedi felt largely like it ran its course. And I say that because like Luke, Leia, and Han were like 70 by the time that would get to the end. You know what I mean? Like Jaina is like in her like 40s. Yeah, like it was. No one ever died. They just kept going forever. It was getting to that point.
I think in general, like having not read all of it, like they were borderline destroying the lore. Like by the end of it,
yeah, you have to. It's when you're above 360 books, in order to not tell the same story over again, you gotta do some shakeups. You know.
But this has something to do with what Jackson said in the chat. What comes after Yushan Vong? A species that is all of the Force. It's just like,
yeah,
like the Mortis gods are actually a species, right? And they've been hidden away, or Yoda's species. But
I would watch that if Yoda's species like try to attack the galaxy, and there's like a bunch of little tiny, ultra powerful ninjas.
And Grogu is like
around, going.
And Grogu is like it's like X-Men, right? Grogu is like Charles Xavier. We can exist with the humans, and then like the Yoda species is like, oh no, we can't. Can't we? Can't. I think, dude, judging by the fact that all of his species are force sensitive and powerful, and seeing a dark side Yoda, if he had an entire planet full of Yodas that were like evil, no shot.
I mean, if you look at Dark Rendezvous, you know, Dooku got a glimpse of what Yoda would be if he embraced the dark side, and he was like, no. Pass. He was like, he would have made Palpatine look like a child, which Palpatine is stupidly powerful. By the way, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Why don't we give Palpatine his flowers? You know what I mean? Like it took the Chosen One to challenge him, and the Chosen Ones was still never on his level.
No. People mostly talk about wanting shows after the Clone Wars began and not before Episode 1. Well, I mean, that's what the High Republic is. That's what Acolyte is.
Hey, Darth Choco is my hero. I enjoy that name. just saying. Do you do Make-A-Wish? So we haven't done anything with Make-A-Wish yet, but I have been in talks to do. There's a cancer charity, and also we will be part of the Podathon this year, which I believe does do which I believe is benefiting Make-A-Wish specifically. But if you had something in mind, let us know. That sounds interesting. We always want to give back. I have Jedi TJ in the chat here. It says, "Hi friends, give me a Ventress series. We are ready. I'll be happy to act for her." And yes, if you've seen Jedi TJ, perfect, born to play the role. But I've seen some of the pictures that you've done with the Ventress lettering and stuff, and like, it's perfect. It's perfect.
TJ, have you done or are you working on a Bad Batch Ventress? Or rather, Dark Disciple, however you want to look at it.
I could have sworn I saw some pictures of her like putting together that specific outfit, but yeah.
Wouldn't you want to see Darth Plagueis in canon? I would. I mean, just like my excitement for Acolyte, I would love to see more dark side stuff.
Yep, she said just starting it. JF says, "Hey, hello. Would I like to see Darth Plagueis in Absolutely. Plagueis is one of my favorite all-time Star Wars books, and as you know, Element so eloquently said it. It really does paint a really nice symmetry throughout all of Star Wars, ending with the sequel trilogy, with the Skywalkers essentially being the Force's correction, and after completing the correction, they return to the Force."
I just love saying that. It's the same thing with like so I have two things that I am so proud of. Is coining Palpatine turned a Skywalker to the dark, Skywalkers turned a Palpatine to the light. And what is of the Force is destined to become one with it. And I'm like, I'd like to see some memes and quotes now just spread like wildfire.
But yeah, I mean, to give you guys more background, if you never heard the whole thing, in the Darth Plagueis book, it's heavily implied that no, Palpatine did not create Anakin. No, but it's implied that his creation was the Force self-correcting from the actions of Palpatine and Plagueis in that story. So it's the symmetry of bringing it back.
I'll let you take that one.
Hold on. Which one? Do you guys have an email address? Yes. Yeah. I can reach out and I'll hop on TikTok right now.
You could also just email influencer at dyadintheforce.com.
Yeah, you can do that. Influencer at dyadintheforce.com. Also, I am in San Diego myself as well. So,
and I'm not too far. NP asks, do you reckon the Bad Batch will see Kanan again? No. I mean, based on the timing and based on the comic, he's gone. Like he's with another person. He's in hiding. I don't think he has any reason to make another appearance in the Bad Batch. Apologies. As the music ends and signals like a if you could be in a Star Wars film but choose any role, character, or who and or what, you know, I'm a Sith. Well, you know, I'm a Jedi. But if I could be in a Star Wars film and choose any character, I mean, I would love to be Yoda. I would love to, like, and this is no ill wishes to Frank Oz or or anything, but in the future, should they want looking, you know, I can do it. But I always have like all of these stories of like, you know, Sundrel and Kestrel, just being the Jedi. What was my Jedi? And it was Sundrel Corso.
yeah.
No relation to Corso Riggs.
I would like to be. I mean, if we're talking like character, like archetype, I would be the guy that, like, the young Jedi protagonist is not good enough at fighting to overcome what they need to do, and I would be the random guy who was like drunk at a bar that that turns out can throw hands, and then teaches them, like, no, you're fighting like a Jedi, and that's what they're expecting. You got to learn how to fight like this, and then I teach them like Jeet Kune Do or something.
You're the Jackie Chan Miyagi. Palpatine's already age 50 in episode 1, so we've never seen his younger self in canon. I would love a Palpatine show.
Although we arguably know what he looks like because we got to see young Dathan at one part, and I just had a lot of mutuals who were like, "Oh no, he's hot."
Yeah, but then you go. That's easily resolvable. You open up Revenge of the Sith, look at him fighting Mace and making the like those faces. That's how he wakes up in the morning.
Bro, you're telling me if I was Palpatine, whenever I wake up in the morning, I'd be like,
what, the Sith scream?
Psycho Crusher. I would do that everywhere. I would never walk.
He's having a nightmare, wakes up, no. How's it going,
also,
Krista?
Chelsea, hello. Thank you for watching.
Jackson says, heck yeah, get some Jawa juice, Spochka style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got Jawa juice. Eat some cake with Dexter.
Jawa juice. That would be called Utini. You know what? I'm gonna make my own cocktail and call it Omitopi. Tom Hiddleston should play the younger Sheev Palpatine in that show.
I just feel like Tom Hiddleston is very tall. Isn't he tall? I feel like he's tall.
He's tall, which brings me to Timothée Chalamet. I think let's take out all of our trepidation of portraying Palpatine as a hot guy. I think Timothy has a great charisma about him that matches Palpatine. And
Also,
Timothy has the nose.
Also, I mean, you have to understand, Palpatine's got the Riz. Like canonically, we haven't truly seen it, but like, there's a reason he was able to win over the whole galaxy. Like, he's a very charismatic dude. And yeah, no, in the Plagueis book, you know, there was ladies. They're wanting some of the dark side, you know.
They want some of that frick lightsaber.
No.
No. Can we argue that the dark side use changed Palpatine's physique over time? I don't think if this is canon or not, but in the novelization, they did say the mask came off and everything that had all of the cost of the dark side had revealed itself. I don't remember the text of it, but
yeah, he wasn't even sat. He looked in the mirror and he says, "The mask becomes the man."
I mean, the dark side always has its cost physically. I mean, look at Vader at the end.
Also, you know, dental work wise, it's it comes at a great cost.
The dark side is the pathway to many abilities and physical.
halitosis.
It's a pathway to many abilities and part marks that some consider to be unfixable by dermatology.
Let's see. Other than Harrison Ford, Star Wars is so much better when it doesn't have super famous actors. I mean, I agree with that. I mean, Harrison Ford wasn't super famous when he did Star Wars in the first place, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and that's what I loved about Daisy. I didn't know anything about her, or Boyega, or Oscar Isaac. I didn't know them. I think everybody in the I knew Lupita Nyong'o, but I didn't like, as far as like people that aren't Han, Leia, and Luke. Like, I didn't know the actors.
Yeah, and I think it's for the best. You know, I think that's how Marvel succeeded as well, as they got people that could disappear into these roles, rather than people who would have like specifications on showing their face. You know, I think of Sylvester Stallone in the movie Dread, where he's like, "I'm taking off the helmet, guys." Actually, be more, "I'm taking off the helmet, guys." But Dread's his only thing for his character is he never takes off the helmet. So the thing, yeah, there's extra stuff you have to do when the actor is really famous.
I mean, we got some.
The Rock be the Rock in every movie.
We got some. We got Matt Smith. We have Tom Blythe, and we even have an Eddie Redmayne. I think Redmayne has a Palpatine to him. Oh, Krista says that's the biggest complaint about the Lizzo, Jack Black, Christopher Lloyd episode I've seen. Brings me back to a question earlier from the pre-show. I think somebody asked what were my feelings on Lizzo and Jack Black, and I love it. Like, I don't think there's not one singular archetype of character in Star Wars that you can't have Lizzo and Jack Black like be their own planet. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
their characters are they match Star Wars. Like, you would go out into the wild space or even the unknown regions, you find a planet with them. It's not unheard of.
Yeah, and I think I mean, I think there's a lot of people out there that probably don't follow Lizzo or Jack Black. You know what I mean? Like, there are certain things where if you didn't know, you wouldn't care. The only reason you care is because you know. And if someone watches it in 10 years, they also may not know. My biggest disappointment with that episode is that we didn't get like a serialized like cop show that's procedural in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? But yeah, that's my thing. Is go back to the High Republic and give me my boy Emmerich solving crimes.
Certain YouTube has posted a video wondering why the sun cast red lightning. Is there anything anywhere about that? No. But the best we can guess is he is the dark side, and that would literally be the purest form of a conjuration of lightning from the darkest depths of the dark side. Getting
a bunch of feedback, huh? Let me see.
Is it you or me?
Oh, it's on my screen. All right, hopefully that's better. Let me know if that's better, Trush.
Let's see. Do either of you have an appetite to see Cal Kestis in live action? Yes.
Oh yeah.
It's only natural now.
And we need to do it now. You know what I mean? Like, my big regret for like the people. It feels like a lot of people who have issues with the sequel trilogy are mostly mad because George Lucas didn't make movies 10 years earlier. You know what I mean? Like, by the time we got more movies, the actors were somewhat aged out of doing highly physical roles.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you fix that? Let's just make sure we don't do that with Cal Kestis. You got a guy that can play the character in live action, which is a very, Dave thing to do, specifically. So let's do it. I want to see it.
The timing is right. You have an actor already. You have actors already. Like, you can do live action Marin easily, live action Sir Junda, and spoiler alert, but you could do all those characters in live action pretty easily. Do you think?
Have you seen people playing Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League? It's throwing me off because that is just Amanda Waller in the game. Like it's just Sir Junda, and it's, I don't know, it's just weird.
Do you think anyone visited Mortis in the Jedi Sith War from 1,000 years before Episode 1? I mean, it's quite possible. The message. So it comes down to whether that distress signal is real or something that is of the Force that's drawing them to the planet. If it's real, then yeah, it could have been from somebody that visited 1,000 years ago.
I believe it is because they said it. Yeah, they said it was an ancient signal. So I don't think they were the first visitors. Just really fascinating. Do you think we'll ever get live action Asajj Ventress?
Yes.
She's no longer in the chat, but we actually have one already. Look up Jedi TJ when you get a chance.
In terms of like the narrative necessity, I think with the revival of the Night Sisters in the Ahsoka series, there is narrative sense to bring some Night Sisters to the forefront in some way, shape, or form. And I have no doubt that they could think of something to do that. Returning to Dathomir with Thrawn, we could see Merrin and possibly Ventress as a part of that storyline, whether ally or foe. But you could make it make sense.
Live action BD1, I need that. Yeah, I mean, listen, droids. What I need more is B2 EMO. I miss him every day. I hope he's okay.
Whoever did the voice of that, do we know?
I'm not sure.
I want to stay with you. I was like, dang, make me cry.
Somebody
more.
give that droid a hug, you know?
Marva is gone. It's like I'm all alone. He did, man. Why'd you have to make me cry, Choco? It's so weird how we empathize with droids. You know what I mean?
Just droids are dogs who can talk. That's what it is. Droids are talking dogs.
Like if I watch an anime or if I watch like a movie about AI and like the droid speaks and they're like, it's like you're not alive. You don't have emotions. Like I feel. I do have emotions, and I'm just like, yeah, he does. He's alive. Detroit Become Human. Great story. I know a lot of people don't resonate with the point and click and like that kind of like gameplay, but if you love consequential choices, it's a good game, and like the nature of, or the premise of it is, I'm quite fond of it.
Yeah, I watched Shayla Ren play all the way through, and I mean, I don't think she's Shayla Ren anymore. I don't know if I told you this, but I really like screwed up my gameplay, my playthrough. Like it's one of those things where you choose the 3-word sentence that's like, oh yeah, that makes sense, and they say something completely different. It's like we should say this. It's like you know, I don't know if you know the. I don't think that's a good idea. I would never do that in 1,000 years. And you're like, no, that's way harsher than this led me to believe.
It was towards the very ending moment, and was his name Marcus? Marcus, and like there was this decision, and I'm not gonna spoil the whole thing for anybody that wants to play Detroit Become Human, but there's something that he's either going to do or not do, and like the sentence that I chose was like, we shouldn't do this or something. So I chose that, and he's like, we shouldn't do this, we should do this, and then like it results in like the whole thing. Like I'm not gonna what is it called, I'm not gonna
spoil it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say what happens, but it just results in that, and like everything, all that I've worked towards, it just goes down the drain. And I'm like, what did
So
you just do?
they pulled a Fable 3 on you. Okay. I don't know if you remember at the end of Fable 3, they're like, this is going to happen in 1 year, and you have to make decisions for the whole kingdom. And you're like, okay, it's like day 1, you make decisions. Day 10, day 12, day 15. And like you're making all these decisions. And then they're like, this day, like 6 months until the invasion. And you make a decision, and then the next one is just the invasion. And you're like, wait, what happened to the next 6 months? You led me to believe I would have more time.
Yeah.
God, Fable's a great game series.
I love the meme videos that people put, especially I forget what the channel is called, but they did the double jump and the horse pocket one. They did one where like when the dialogue choices don't match, and then like one of them is like a romance option where it says it's like I've never felt this way before. And he chose it. He's like, I've never felt this way before, and that's why you really need to leave me alone. And then he's like, no, I want this. Why did you say that? Have you guys talked about Outlaws at all? Actually, we had the privilege of interviewing the developers at San Diego Comic-Con, and it's shaping up to be quite an experience to be had.
Yeah. Super excited for that game. I know it's been pushed back, and we're still waiting on more information. I need to reach back out to them to see what any developments are. But I was also nervous because Ubisoft had a bunch of like layoffs and stuff, and I was like, I hope I don't want to reach out like too soon before. I don't know.
Yeah. So not to bring the atmosphere down, but I have in fact suffered from such gaming layoffs, and so yay. I'm in a good spot still, but yeah, it's tough. The gaming industry is the most profitable it's been in its history, and a lot of us are getting laid off, and it's quite a disaster, really. And I'll always be a proponent that game artists and designers and workers in the game industry need to unionize.
Yeah. But will somebody think of the shareholders?
Listen,
I'm sorry.
if there's a company I would love to work for, it's Nintendo now, because quite frankly, they're the only ones that have taken pay cuts to avoid layoffs. And I will forever respect Nintendo for doing that. But, you know, such is the world we live in with capitalism and trying to feed the bottom line and keeping the green further in the green.
Well, I mean, it would be into the black, but I gotcha. It's a weird game that gets played because you can have a CEO or usually the CEO who is trying to maintain their position for their own personal benefit, and so they need to juice things in order to show growth in the quarter, but that quarter growth may have an adverse effect on the bottom line in the future, and so it's a whole thing.
I think in general
Hey, Batman Sam.
I think in general, just if you're profitable, that should be enough for you. You know what I mean? And I really despise the people who are like, we should maximize it and get even more and put at risk everyone's livelihoods. And it's just like, you're profitable. Like, you're making money. It's steady. You should be happy with it.
Yeah, it's just a whole thing. I get it, but
A reduction in workforce when you're profitable just to be more, just to increase the margin, it just doesn't make sense to me.
And by doing that, I mean, I did work for, I mean, when I was working for Circuit City, they laid off everyone who was above the pay cap for their department.
Oh,
But that
yeah.
meant that all of their most seasoned workers there, all of the people that should have been promoted, get their own store or whatever, but there just wasn't room for them at that time. Everyone who knew what they were doing all got fired on the same day. And they didn't even it out to make sure that the positions would be filled. So like my entire warehouse gone.
Mm.
There was no one in the warehouse. No one knew how to operate anything or where anything was. It was a mess. But it's one of those decisions that happen at a corporate level that just don't consider the don't have the full scope because they don't have any skin in that side of the game.
Speaking of which, do you know Joshua Packman then?
No, Joshua Pac-Man, Waka Waka.
No, Josh Packman. He's a political commentator now.
No.
The Packman Show, like
Oh.
he talked about his time in Circuit City when he was like 18 years old. He made like 80K just off of selling like the extended like service plans and stuff. And then like he literally was on like the Patrick Bet David show talking about how like they came in and they're like they they fired us all because I was making above. They fired the people that made above and below and kept the mediocre. Is that basically what happened?
Was wild. Yeah, there was no, they kept the people that were at at the lowest, you know. they seemed to like them. But I felt bad watching a 16-year-old girl trying to load an 80-inch plasma TV into the trunk of a car, and I had to run out there and help her.
Mm.
She was a cashier, you know. I don't know, it was weird.
What if the Rey movie ends with her going to Fortnite? Yeah, out your mind. What's going on, Tate? Alec Guinness became Obi-Wan because the Japanese guy Lucas wanted to said no. Yeah, that's highly known.
Do you know the origins of R2D2's name? I was going to make a video on it. So yeah, wait till you see my video.
Yeah, I'm not gonna answer that question. Toshiro Mifune from Seven Samurai.
And then someone will make that video before we get off, and then they'll be like, hit 1 million views, and I'll be sad.
Was it? Oh, thank you, Tate, for the heart puff and the TikTok and the rose. My guess is that it's has something to do with Japanese. Japanese. R2D2.
Nah, it's even better than that.
I just like my favorite kind of like behind the scenes, like, did you know, is the Jidaigeki being the inspiration for Jedi or Jedi.
Yeah, the time period. Also, Batman Stan, thank you for the heart and the rose over here. Appreciate it.
Thank you for the eye bear. Since Nintendo is a Japan-based company, thought Element would make the connection. Oh, I mean, like, is it a connection though? I mean, it's like you're saying just because they're Japanese, like there is a connection. Like I'm like 6 degrees.
That, but
I'm 6 degrees from Pacquiao because I'm Filipino. Like it's not really. I don't really know Pacquiao, nor I don't have any connections with him. I'm pretty sure, you know, Choco knows all the black people in the world.
Oh yeah, no, I just pick up the black phone. It's just like a constant line, and just whoever's on it at that moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Nintendo's Japanese origins and the idea of lightsaber duels coming from samurai. I don't think lightsaber duels came from just samurai. I just think that George Lucas was took from the samurai culture, the Bushido, and Buddha, and instilled it in the Jedi culture. Transplanted that, but it wasn't like because then he took, in the prequels, he took a lot of the one-handed style choreo from FEMA, because he wanted the swords to be heavy really early on in the originals, and so he took from katana and just like the two-handed sword styles, and then the prequels moved it to more agile forms with FEMA and like fencing, because he wanted the Jedi of that time to be more trained and more classically able. So they were doing spins and stuff and those flourishes.
Yeah, I'm actually going through a whole book that's like, it's going through the history of George Lucas's drafts for it. And it's pretty fascinating, because as a lot of us know, a lot of it came from Hidden Fortress, but at least that's the whole pitch that he got approved to make. And then later, because he didn't own the rights to it, he could have bought the rights, but he had to start interjecting a bunch of other stuff into it so he wouldn't be part of like the biggest lawsuit in film history.
Just on the TikTok side alone, there was a hat and mustache on you for a brief second. Thanks for the hat and mustache facts. I'm glad it went on Choco. As Force Lore Maniacs, what are you most looking forward to from Star Wars this year? Acolyte. I mean,
Night Sister lore.
More importantly,
in the Acolyte, and Jodie Turner-Smith is a Night Sister. That's what I'm betting on. I'm putting it down right there.
dark side lore. More broadly, my favorite Black Mirror episode is their visualization of a dating app. Have you ever seen that one?
No.
So like, there's like a couple that goes in, and then they experience dating other people, like in this kind of world or this theme park almost, and it's just seeing other people, living with other people, and doing all of that. But at the very end, it zooms out, and it's just them on the app.
Okay. That was cool. I was like cool visualization techniques and shows, just like in Baby Assassins.
Yeah, so I would love to see a visualization of dark side corruption, not just like some guy that's like, oh, it's making me do things. Like, I want to see like a visualization of that corruption feeding on their spirits and latching onto their soul, and just like when you picture Drengir, like just like this whole like horror, what's going on in their mind. Oh, like Legion, like just like those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Was it Junipero? Hold on.
Junipero? Huh? Is it Jadakiss? I don't know.
No, I don't think it was that episode.
Love the horror of the Drengir and the beast of Planet X. Yeah.
Hold on.
You didn't give me anything to vamp to.
I know.
It was just cold.
I think it was Hang the Jedi. Or Hang the Jedi. Hang the DJ.
Hang Mr. DJ.
Yeah, it follows Amy and Frank, who are matched into relationships for fixed lengths of time by an algorithm that eventually determines their lifelong partner. So it's essentially...
yes. That is the correct answer.
So essentially like they're matched with people, and like there's like a time limit on their room or something that like kind of shifts whenever like they have like weird entanglements and weird encounters. Like if they fight, like their time together is like shortened or something, and it's like the algorithm's like updating like, oh, you don't have that much time left because you guys are fighting. It's like, so it's like, it's really, you should, I actually want to watch it with you. So whenever we can, I want to show it to you. I think it's an awesome look into like a dating app, like visualized.
Yes. So Chris did said it correctly. It was one of the sound designers for American Graffiti asked for R2D2, which meant real 2 dialogue 2, while working on American Graffiti. And George Lucas wrote that in his notebook because he thought that sounded cool. Like, that is cool. I like that.
Yeah. Book of Boba Fett with Boba's vision proves they can do those trippy visualizations. I hope it happens. Yeah. Could you imagine? Like
snorting a lizard?
No. I can't imagine that.
Yes.
Honestly, I can't. Could you imagine if we get to see someone falling to the dark side and it's like that trippy, it's like that acid trip of like Book of Boba Fett mixed with like someone living like 10 years of their lives in 1 second. Like that entire episode is them living 10 years and like they're making all the wrong decisions and they're just like their world is falling apart, and then they wake up in the real world and only like 2 hours have gone by and like the eyes are like bloodshot.
Yeah. One of my favorite versions of that happens in the show Only Murders in the Building. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a fantastic show. Steve Harvey still, one of the goats.
Yeah. Mixed with the visuals of Vader in the Force from his mind palace. I'm trying to picture that happening, like a fully flame on Anakin, and seeing that in live action. Thank you for the cap and the TikToks. Thank you guys for the gifts. Appreciated.
Choco, could you expand on what you meant in your Big Bang Theory? I believe I agree. I just need more context. Yeah, I was just saying that the show was really good in the beginning. It was really enjoyable, but the whole premise changed as it gained popularity, and so it changed from geeks and their own inside jokes poking fun at our own community, and it became more about people from Penny's perspective making fun of geeks for being weird. And as it expanded, like it went more and more towards that side, and it just became only about dating. Also, there's a lot of weird stuff that was just like troubling with the choices they made for Raj, the extremely aggressive sexual nature of Howard, and as it went on, it became clear that Leonard and Penny had nothing in common, no chemistry, and they didn't like each other.
How's it going, Nidra? Miss you, bestie.
Hey, Nidra.
How's everything going with you? I've told Jar Jar haters, what's a death stick addiction like? You still gotta tell me. Well, I would respond, pretty hot. Oh man. So 25 years of the prequels. We are gonna have We are going to have a chance to screen The Phantom Menace in the big screen.
So excited to see it again. Ah, man.
Just
because the hype was so unreal. I can't explain it enough. Because times were different there then. You know what I mean? Like we didn't have trailers. Yeah.
We saw the first trailer. Or I saw the first trailer in like the theater for another movie. And then just hearing the Duel of the Fates in that trailer, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna be crazy." I said it just like that.
Okay, I'm trying to remember. What movie, because there was a specific movie that people bought tickets for that movie just to see the trailer.
I gotta look it up now.
They would walk in the movie, sit in the theater, sit down. They would watch the Phantom Menace trailer, and then they would get up and leave. And then eventually, when we got the trailer online, it was like this big. It was like 320p resolution.
So, the first trailer was shown at 75 U.S. and Canadian theaters before Meet Joe Black.
Yes, Meet Joe Black.
The Waterboy and The Siege. And I think I was watching The Waterboy.
Waterboy is a fantastic movie.
But yeah, I mean, I remember...
Maybe there's something wrong with your medulla oblongata.
I think that's what I miss the most about trailer culture was every time I go into a movie today and I see a trailer, it's like, oh, I saw that on YouTube already. It's like there's nothing like I can't run into a movie trailer nowadays and being like, whoa, what is this? Like, you know.
I think that's the interesting thing about the community now, because back then you couldn't there wasn't a space for reactionaries because you had to have skin in the game to see the thing. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't easy.
It's understandable nowadays, of course. Like we have the platforms in social media. Like they're gonna do leaks and trailers and they're gonna show everything off. But you know, it is something I miss about just going into a movie and seeing a trailer for the first time and be like, that's coming out? But we already know what's coming out 3 years from now, 4 years from now, and also have sneak peek behind the scenes and also have trailers. But it is what it is.
It says, what if all Star Wars was just a dream Han had because he smoked so much Jabba's spice? He didn't actually drop the shipment. So the whole thing is still inside of the Falcon. I like it. I'm into it.
And then he wakes up and sees Daisy in front of him. He's like, it's all true. All of it.
Happy Lunar New Year, Young. I hope you get rich.
Kung Hei Fatsui.
I don't have anything.
Hey, it's red enough.
It's the right color scheme.
Good lassie. Yeah. I mean, still single, still a bachelor. Gonna still get these. But quite needed, having been laid off. So, I think you know, if I look at things from a positive standpoint or from a optimistic standpoint, I think it's just the world saying it's time to move on to something else.
Jimmy, hey guys, how's the night going? It's going good. We're just talking Star Wars with friends and Chinese New Year right now. Year of the Dragon.
Wait, when you got laid off? Yes, I did. About if the reports are true, about 70 people got let go. And we were talking about this earlier in terms of like the greed of corporations. It's like, we're profitable, but I want more. So let's realign our workforce. Just, I don't know what that means. does he mean anything? They just want to absorb our payroll into their bonuses, essentially.
Yeah, that's a thing.
As both Choco and I lean off to the side in Dyad fashion.
Yes, but mine is a much cuter reason. Right, Suki? Ah!
No, me picking up the bay blue is pretty cute. Oh, but mine can't lick me.
It's along the same lines as we're short-staffed. You know, you're making it work. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Have you ever thought about working 10 times harder and doing the job of like 4 people for the same amount of pay? No.
And that's the thing, right? Their bottom line, their margins, it always comes at the expense of someone else's livelihood.
Yes.
Would Choco say his dog is like Lando's equivalent of Chewbacca?
I mean, maybe, but I would have to be Chewbacca, and Suki would be Lando in that situation.
Are you guys as distraught for Bad Batch Season 3 as I am? I'm as distraught
yes.
as trying to correct you and saying it's the final season.
So
If
that
that's
means
not
that Krista saw the teaser.
Oh, the clip?
Teaser. Yeah.
I didn't click on it.
Oh, don't remind me. Yeah, I mean, it didn't spoil anything. It was just, Well, I guess you didn't click on it, so I won't say anything.
I saw the thumbnail was Crosshair, but I didn't. I had made a decision not to. Just for the sake of, well, watching that for the first time.
Texting down and says, yeah, because Crosshair and Omega are the only ones making it.
That could be, I think for the most part where my mind is at is, well, I know that Crosshair gets saved, but at what cost? And that's the cost is where my mind is kind of, juggling what the cost is, who the cost is. Nietzsche says you'll find something new and exciting. I can almost guarantee it. I mean, Lord of the Rings Online was a huge kind of dream for me to work on such an IP, but it is a very old game, 2007, and I'm already looking forward to working with more contemporary tools and tech, and
And to answer your question, Jimmy, yeah, he was working for Lord of the Rings Online as a Quest developer. And designing Quest in QA, right?
It was content designer. So I did quests, narrative. I had designed across 2 expansions, 2 dungeons, and about like 4 regions of quest content and story arcs. But that was all using some pretty dated technology. But it was a great experience. I loved working with the IP and writing stories in the Lord of the Rings space. But, as we move forward and find some new and interesting opportunities, like I look forward to, rejoining the likes of Unreal 5 and maybe the latest of Unity and working with the newer technologies. Nidra, you need to come down to Anaheim, May 1st to May 6th.
Yes, you do. You don't want to be in Texas? Come on.
Get out here.
I know you said get out here, but I heard get out of here. But as we approach the ending of this episode, ja, I'm down. Well, listen, you better be there. I'm gonna text you and I'm gonna send you some details. But we already have a bunch of people coming down, including many of the people in the chat. And it's gonna be lit. It's gonna be, oh man, did it just say it's gonna be lit? It's gonna be great. A lot of people coming down. We have Mesa Windu coming down. We have Boba Fett. We have Stygian Siren. We have us. We have Young. You know, a lot of Star Wars current creators coming down to just hang out. Again, it's not a real convention, so you don't have to like have this whole like convention planned at the top, like the back of your mind. We're all just going into one spot. It might be next to Disney, but it's still just one spot where we all just hang out. At the end of the day, we go back to the same hotel, hang out still, and just kind of be able to hang out with each other. Because for the past 2 years, for the most part, our community has been go to this celebration, and we're all in different hotels, and just like we just kind of like disperse at the end of the day, and we don't really have that time to hang out. And I go back to like the first time we did this in Anaheim, where we had karaoke and stuff, and like those were some of the best times. And so we need to recreate that, give everybody a chance to hang out together and just be there around each other without like, oh, I need to make it to this panel today. You know, it's just,
yeah, it's the con minus the con, and it'll be beautiful.
maybe in the future it'll be called Comic-Con.
Con.
Conmicon. Join the dark chocolate side and we can rule the galaxy of love for Valentine's Day. Yeah, speaking of which, happy Valentine's Day for a lot of people. Going into February 14th, I'm gonna be sending you a box of chocolates, Nidra. Just kidding. But yeah.
Hey, Lord Bloodslith, how you doing? Nice to see you.
3 minutes away from the closing of the show. Is there anything that any questions we missed? Anything we need to? Yay! Oh, F, never mind. I mean, if you want one, I'll send you one. You have to agree to be my Valentine, though. That's the thing, right? What are we missing? Anything, Choco? Any questions?
I don't know. I'm just enjoying the Riz, you know.
Listen,
You gotta do.
Nick Amarillo says, "Will this be VOD?" I missed the show, unfortunately. It will be VOD, and you can also catch it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Stitcher, and all of the podcasts where casts are pods, and pods are casts.
And Lord Bloodslith, yes, we are actually getting close to the end, but go ahead and ask your question, and hopefully we can get it in time.
Yep. Star Wars Celebration Japan, hoping to be my first celebration, hoping it works out to go. Absolutely, that's going to be a fun time. Weapons grade Riz? Stop it. If anything, it's like it's lightsaber grade. You know, I gotta cut through to the heart.
Let's see. So, Urbled says is asked if we think anything will materialize from Star Wars Theory talking to Hayden at MegaCon.
No,
I don't think so at all. I think, unfortunately, there's ways to express your dislike of projects or things without making yourself an enemy of the IP. I think it was a weird choice, but nothing will materialize. I don't think Lucasfilm
would allow that to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty much like the same as me running into like, or not even running into. It's like me being friends with Daniel Jose Older, or us being friends with Daniel Jose Older. It's like there's not gonna be a book about Darth Choco and Jedi Master Element 7 in the future. Nothing's gonna materialize. We just, we're friends. We talk, and that's it. And like if he ran into Hayden and they had a conversation, then that's all really. I think they wouldn't. I don't think that Hayden would do anything with Theory, because they would need Lucasfilm, or at least the publicist, to greenlight that. It's not just like, hey, I ran into him.
He's blacklisted at pretty much everything from Lucasfilm, so that's a thing.
Let's see here. Have we gotten an Andor release date? I don't know if they finished filming. They did wrap. So did Acolyte. So did Skeleton Crew. We don't have a date for it, but I imagine it's coming after Acolyte. I think. Did we get an updated slate for the TV shows?
I mean, it was Collider that broke. The Acolyte being this summer. I'll still need to make sure, but we can do that after we finish up and make a video on it later.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll do it for this episode of Dyad in the Force. Thank you so much for everybody for stopping by. Thank you to all of the people who sent gifts on the TikTok side. Shout out to all of the Dyad Squad members on YouTube. Let's see here. Krista, Mark Daniel, Craig, Nidra, my Valentine, Cal, Daxon, Woodsy, Nick. I think I said Krista already, but yeah. Cubcos. Once again, another episode in our library of just hanging out with everybody and chilling and talking Star Wars. Day in, day out, day by day. Talking about Star Wars and nothing else, right? Because we are Star Wars fans, and that's all we talk about. No, that's not all we talk about, but essentially, as Star Wars fans, we like to talk about Star Wars, and the alternative is not feasible. Or it's feasible, but I don't know what I'm trying to do. I'm just saying we talk about Star Wars, okay? Choco, sorry, I am ever since Nidra accepted my heart, I am flustered.
Walking on sunshine. It's
I'm
okay.
walking on sunshine. Yeah.
But yeah, thank you everyone that joined. We had a great turnout. Jimmy, Lord Bloodslave, Grandmaster Chooch, Jedi TJ, JF, Jack, Inquisitor Akula, Craven, Marhead.
Got you, man. Got you, dude.
And everyone else. Damn it. Yeah. Last question. Who's winning the Super Bowl?
Taylor Swift.
I knew it. I knew it. Because if you answered, that's what I was going to say.
Nidra said Usher. Dang. Well, he's always got to have it his way.
My way.
All right. Well, that's it. On to the next one.
For Light and for Life.
We are all the Dyad.
And it's 7 o'clock on the dot. I'm in my drop top. All right. Good night.